Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, my favorite day of the week. And we are live, and I am so excited to be here tonight. Tonight. I've had a busy night. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to take a little technology break and show my parents something. So that little guy right there, can you see it? Mm-hmm. That's how many people are actually watching right now. Okay. And then over here, we'll get some comments. So, hey. So I've had a busy night tonight. I had a life group earlier, and I came home. It was a very long commute to my life group. It was right across the cul-de-sac, so it was really touch and go for a minute. But I'm here now, and tonight with me, I have two very special guests, two people that have literally known me my entire life, have supported me through all of my journeys. My parents, yay! So they're here tonight, and we're going to talk about kind of their relationship. So last week, if you guys watched last week, if not, you can watch the replay. We had a marriage and family therapist on, and so we talked a lot about marriage and how you can have a love for a lifetime. And so this week, we're kind of spurring off of that. My dad so graciously volunteered both of them to be on my show tonight, which I think that my mother is very thrilled about. As you watch the show tonight, you'll learn that I got a lot of my personality from my father and not so much from my mother, because she's more of a behind the scenes, quiet and reserved, and my dad kind of leads the charge. So anyway, I don't know what they're doing back there, guys.
I said I'm not going to say a word now.
Yeah. So anyway, meet my dad, Milton Lewis.
Hi.
And from him, I learned a lot of things. I got my personality from him, for better or for worse. And I learned phrases like can't, never, did, nothing. And that's one of the biggest reasons why I started doing this show, was because if I sat down and thought about all the things, the roadblocks that I was going to encounter, can't. And so I just went with it. And a lot of people ask me questions about my show, and I just kind of look at them and laugh. I'm like, it's totally low level. Like, I shoot it in my house, lights or whatever the lighting is providing in my room. Like, it's totally low level. It's just fulfilling a dream that I always had. So can't, never, did, nothing. And the only thing I wish my father would have given me that he didn't give me was his nice tan complexion. He gets so dark in the summertime, and he doesn't he used to not wear a lot of shorts because he owned a construction business. So when he would wear shorts or go swimming, his legs were so white, like I am all the time. And like his upper half and his arms were so tan, and I was always jealous of that. So I did get my complexion from my beautiful mother. So meet my mother, Kelly.
Hi.
And that's Kellye. Very passionate about that. My name ends in an E, and both of my sisters' names end in an E, and it's because my mom's name ends in an E. And Kelsey, don't you even tell me that I'm not in the ends in an E club, because I am. Hi, Caitlin. Caitlin says hi.
Hi, Caitlin.
Hi, baby.
Okay, Caitlin's my youngest sister, y'all. Okay, so from my mom, I learned a lot of good things, but most importantly, I inherited my good looks from her. Everyone always says to me, oh, you're so beautiful. You look or they say, you look just like your mother. And I say, well, it's a good thing she's beautiful. And that's the truth.
That's so sweet.
It is the truth. It is the truth. God made us all uniquely beautiful.
You also learned to drive from your dad.
It's fine. I'm a good driver. I've totaled my car 4 months into having my license. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so let's all get this party started, because I mentioned that this kind of spurred off from last week's story about marriage and how my parents have a unique relationship. So we'll get into that tonight. We probably won't dwell on it too much, but we're going to talk about it and just some things that come from there. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Andrea. Kristen says, hi, Ma Lewis.
Don't forget Dad.
Don't forget Dad Lewis. He's feeling a little left out, y'all. Okay. And thanks to Kristen for helping me get some of my questions together today. I know you were very busy at
thanks,
work.
Kristen.
I think that was a genuine thank you. Okay, so let's start off with, this is going to be like one of my favorite questions because it's just going to start the contradictions right off the top. So how did you guys meet? Who wants to start and who wants to correct the
Do you want
story?
the right story?
The truth is, the absolute truth is, back before stalking was illegal and stuff, Kelly stalked me all over Delphi.
Was it ever not illegal?
Well, I don't think it was a big deal back then, but she followed me in her little Camaro all around Delphi, around the courthouse, over to my mom and dad's who live on the west side. And I even went in the house and she kept going by and honking her horn. No, actually, I seen a good looking redhead in a car and I thought she was hot and I chased her around town to get her to stop.
Now you want what happened?
Let's hear the real
Okay.
story.
The truth.
Okay. Back then, the thing to do on the weekends was to go into town and drive around. And I was in Delphi, and actually I was waiting on my high school friend. I was going to meet her, and we were going to hang out. So I was just driving around, waiting on her, and all of a sudden someone started, there were headlights, behind me, and they just kept following me, and so I thought, crap. So finally, and I wouldn't do that today, but finally I pulled into the Hooks drugstore parking lot, and Milton pulls up next to me and he says, "Oh, you're not who I thought you were." I said, "Oh, okay."
Was that your pickup line?
Yeah. So then we started talking and found out that our birthdays were 2 days apart, actually 2 years and 2 days apart. So, and he, I knew his family, or some of them.
My
And
brothers.
yeah, I've met your mom too, but anyway, and so we decided that we were going to go out on our birthdays, but we were going to go out on the 17th.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked about that, and that was it. I left, and I went up and got a pop, and back then we didn't have cell phones, so we couldn't contact who we were waiting on to see where they were at.
Mm-hmm.
So I went and got a pop and set the pop in my seat between my legs. And when I took off, I obviously had it turned the wrong way and I dumped pop in my seat.
Oh.
So I started home and I got up the hill in Delphi and up to the Hilltop Shell. And there he was again.
I was there first, dearie.
And anyway, I said, "I'm just going home. My friend obviously isn't coming into town, so I'm just going to go on home." And he said, "Well, we can go to town." And I said, "My pants are wet. I need to go home and change." So I went home and changed, and we went to town. And
Mhm.
She had me follow her home to meet her mom and dad.
yeah, well,
So your birthdays are in May. So what month was this? Was this early May?
It was-
May 6th.
yeah, it was. That's
Okay.
right. It was the 6th.
They agreed on something, you guys. It's a freaking miracle. Before Caitlin says before stalking wasn't illegal, laughing, and then Kristen's like, "I knew this would complete my Tuesday." I know, Kristen.
Yeah,
My
nothing
Tuesday's
yet.
just getting started. Okay, so I think Dad's words were, "I saw a hot redhead." So what attracted you to each other?
Because I wasn't who you thought you were chasing. So
I know you wasn't. You're better looking. She was a blonde.
yeah.
Hey now.
Yeah, your dad was good looking. He was easy to talk to, obviously.
Had a pocket full of cash.
Yeah.
Where is it?
I don't know. We had some of the same goals.
Mm-hmm.
We eventually wanted to get married,
Ooh.
have kids, family.
Right.
That was it. And plus, I knew his brother, and I knew Martha, and so that.
You knew two of my brothers.
Oh yeah, because Perry,
Okay.
him and I went to school together.
And what year was that?
That we went to school together.
No, that you guys met. May of
78.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Okay, I just did a calculation for the first time in my life, guys. Okay, so you guys got married in
January of 79.
January. That's the calculation I just did. That's not very long. My husband and I dated for 4 years before we got married.
You did it the right way.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's any right or wrong.
I don't know that there
works.
was a wrong way. I mean, I knew by the next morning she was going to be my wife. I told her the next day.
Yeah, he kept telling me. I don't think he ever proposed.
I proposed in 05.
But at the beginning, I think it was just like, okay, we're going to get married when.
Right.
And we went and got rings.
Okay. All right. So how long were you married?
18 years.
18.
Actually, 17 years and some change.
Okay.
Okay. 18, 17 years. Was good looking. Okay. So then, for those of you that don't know, this is what makes their relationship unique. So you were married for 17 years, and then in 96, was that the right year? Did I get the
97.
right year? I
97.
really think it was 96. What happened then?
We got a divorce.
So it would be 18 years because it was 90.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we got a divorce.
They got a divorce. It was like my junior or senior year of high school.
Yeah, it was sweet.
What?
It was sweet, wasn't it?
Oh, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Freaking
It was
fantastic.
horrible. It was horrible. Divorce is terrible.
So, what drew you away from each other? Why did you get a divorce?
Because I was a workaholic. Mom wanted to go to work, and I didn't want her to go to work because we had little ones to raise yet. And she had her hands full helping me with the business.
Mm.
Yeah, we were always self-employed.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of work.
Still am.
Okay.
And I think I just had I don't know. I had an ideal of what I wanted my family to be like,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, like, because when I was raised, we sat down at the table every night for dinner, and we went on family vacations, and we went to church on Sunday, and Sunday was a family day, and all that. None of that was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
So you just felt, nah.
We had differences on child raising,
Mhm.
and then the money stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a lot
another
more.
big thing was the house we bought at Locks. After we stuck a bunch of money in it, we had a 4-year court battle over it, and due to technicality, we got beat out of several $100,000.
Some money.
So
Yes.
after that, it was Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
He moved into a house, and we moved into an apartment.
So fun.
3 blocks apart.
Okay, so how long were you divorced?
7 years, 7 months, and 14 days.
I'm not gonna argue.
7 plus 7 is 14. Okay, so that was a really long 7 years for the oldest sibling. Yeah,
It was horrible.
I don't even want to review that actually. So let's fast forward then. 7 years, 7 months, and 14 days. What brought you back to each other? Why did you consider to reconcile? Because if I remember, it's not a great divorce.
Are there any great ones?
Um,
Well, he always told me we'd be back together.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was ready to reconcile from day one.
Mm-hmm.
I went to a program in Lafayette,
Divorce care.
divorce care, and I took a hard look at myself and learned a lot of things about myself that I didn't like. And my favorite Bible verse is Luke 8:18. It says, "Those who listen to my teachings, greater knowledge will be given. Those who do not, even what you think you have will be taken away from you."
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of hit me. It's like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
how true that is. God took my family away from me. I
Mhm.
wasn't ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
What was the next question you wanted to go on?
No,
That was it. Like,
yeah.
and then, how did you?
Like the girls and I started going to church,
Mhm.
a church in town, and then I started going to a Bible study, a singles Bible study, and they happened to be studying a book.
Yeah.
This was an 04.
The Peacemaker.
This was an 04 now, right?
We're getting, but yeah. The Peacemaker. And when I started reading this, it made me realize that the things that happened in our marriage weren't all Milton's fault. That I had some part in that, and they talked about forgiving and moving on, and so it made me think about things. And plus, Rianne and Danny were together, not married, but dating, and I figured that pretty soon we're going to have her get married and grandkids, and I just wanted my family back together as a whole, and I was going to do what it took to get that done.
Okay, so that was I think it was 2003, 2004.
2004.
And where were you living at the time?
In 2003, I decided I went out several times, and even though I wanted to reconcile, I did. And went out a couple times with some ladies, and they knew Kelly, and they said, "You still love your wife?" He said, "Well," and they figured that from when I talked about her. Yes, but anyway, so I thought, well, I'm gonna move to Arizona, move completely away, because she keeps telling me it ain't never gonna happen. We ain't never gonna be together. And I was tired of being alone, but I thought, well, I gotta move away. So I moved to Arizona. And then Kelly asked me when I told her that I was moving, she says, "Got a job out there?" I said, "Nope." Says, "Got a girlfriend out there?" I said, "Nope. Don't know anyone. I'm just going."
Okay. So then my memory serves me correctly. You were coming back for a visit over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And you were here, and you had asked Mom if you guys could work on things.
No.
That's not what happened.
No. What had happened, Kelly and I was talking. The first year I was out there, Caitlin and Kelsey came to, and Kelly, I flew her out too, to Arizona, and we spent time. We went to Grand Canyon, and everything was perfect except when it come right down to it. Kelly says, "No, we're not together. Draw the line." Even though we had a great time. And I got so frustrated. Matter of fact, when I took her to the airport, I almost refused not to take her to the airport. I was so mad at her.
You booted us out at the curb.
So I got there and got to the airport and kicked him out. Go, get out of here. I'm done with you. And so then next year, 2005, 2004, okay, whatever. 2004, Kelly called me and we're talking about what we're doing for visitation this year. And I said, "Well, I'm going to come home." And I think she was telling me about that her birth mother passed away. And I felt sorry about that. And so then we're talking, and she says, "Well, I'm finally ready." And I said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "Ready to reconcile. You told me if I was ever ready to reconcile, I'll let you know." And I thought, okay, what changed your heart? Because now at this point in my life, I'd give up on it. I'd give up. I was moving on my life. I wasn't dating anyone steady. I had a couple friends, but there wasn't serious or nothing. So I said, "Well, I'll come home and we'll discuss this more when I get home." So I come all the way back from Arizona in 2004, whatever.
Or maybe 3.
No, because I didn't move till spring of 3.
Things moved quickly again then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I come all the way back, and in St. Louis, this side of in Illinois, on the St. Louis side, or the Illinois side of St. Louis, I got run off the road and run over one of them culverts and a pole,
Mhm.
and it ripped a hole in my transmission. I didn't know at the time. So I got all the way back to Rhiannon and Danny's place, and I spent the night there and got up in the morning, and the girls come over, and Caitlin and I went down to the courthouse so I could pay my child support that was due. Kelly was needing it. So I went down there, paid it, and come out and got my truck started up and no transmission. We looked underneath it and there was a hole in the transmission. All the fluid was out. But what amazes me about that drove all the way home from St. Louis, 300 miles, 250 miles. And that was God in it altogether. So God was in there and made me depend on Kelly because I couldn't afford to rent a car. Didn't have any insurance for renting a car. So that would have been on me. So I took her to work and used her car, which was a total piece of crap. But anyway, and then I stayed at Rhiannon's at night. So then we talked about it, and what?
I'm just trying to figure out
What car?
that I had that was
The
a total piece of
Taurus or
crap.
the Sable?
You're stable.
My favorite car.
It was a piece of shit. Anyway,
We're about out of time.
I'll shut up.
So
Um,
anyway, you get home.
So I get home and we start talking about reconcile and so on that conversation, I gotta go back to this important part. So in that conversation, she told me she was going to do she was doing some Bible study and doing some counseling with Amy Baker at a Faith Baptist Church. And she said on Wednesday night, this was I think Saturday when she called, or Friday, she said on Wednesday night, Amy asked Kelly at the end of her counseling, says, is there any reason you and Milton can't reconcile? And Kelly said, I got up, I was so mad. I said, I told you that was never going to happen. Don't ask me about him. And Amy had not met me at that time. So Kelly got mad and she said on the way home, she kept asking herself, saying, why can't we reconcile? Because it's only my stupid pride that we can't. And then we'll let Kelly take it over.
I don't think so.
Okay,
No, we just
we're done.
got back together. I mean, yeah.
So they remarried, and this is special to me because at the time they were getting remarried, I think Danny and I had just got engaged.
Mhm.
So it was really cool to me to have my parents remarried and to have them at our wedding as this like unified couple instead of having to worry about what one person was going to say or the other. I mean, I still worry about that because, whatever.
And pay for a $100,000 wedding.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, that was
Caitlin.
That was $200,000.
Mine was very inexpensive. Anyway, so looking back, Mom, you had said you realized that not all the mistakes or not everything that happened in your marriage was because of Dad, that you take some ownership in that too. But can you guys think of any mistakes that you made during your relationship and things that you are cognizant and think about of now that you try not to make those same mistakes? Like Dad, you mentioned that you help out around the house.
Yeah, before I wouldn't help out around the house. Now that we've been remarried now for what, 35 years now. When I'm home, I clean the house and I get this after Rhiannon's husband, Danny. I never even thought about doing that before. I clean the house, do the dishes, laundry, whatever.
Thanks, babe. Thanks for helping make my dad a better husband. Okay, what about you, Mom?
I think we were both more concerned about ourselves than each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like bogging down on what I thought he should be doing for me, or and where was I?
What you were more selfish than
Right.
probably instead of trying to help your partner.
Instead of it being a
Partnership.
and I guess at sometimes I felt like I was overloaded
Mm-hmm.
with kids and house and our
333
businesses.
people watching. Wow.
Where do you see 333?
Up there in the top left corner.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? Yeah. What's your favorite number? Yeah, I imagine raising kids, and I mean, you kind of had two separate.
And
Sets of
you know,
kids.
yeah, and I
Stressful. Marriage is stressful. Raising kids is stressful.
right.
Trying to do it all
Money.
together. Oh, Marcia's watching.
Hi, Marcia.
Well, hello there, stranger. Hope you're doing well. And Jennifer said hello. Let's see who else I'm missing here. Lots of people are watching. Thank you guys for watching. Marcia, you're funny.
What'd she say?
I'm not gonna say it. Oh boy. You guys can read it later. Okay, so what advice would you give to any married couple that is in a tough spot right now or struggling and thinks that divorce is the answer?
Get your eyes off yourself and put them on board. And understand divorce doesn't solve anything. It just makes your problems worse because you think money's tight when you're married. Go through a divorce. You have half as much income, twice as much bills, because now you have two households to support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then try to get back into having a life for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
dating life. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Seek counseling, maybe.
Counseling in that book is a
Yes,
good.
definitely that book.
It's a good.
Peacemaker. I'll put that in the comments for anybody that might want
Peacemaker.
to. If I can, Sandy.
Mhm.
Sand. I
It's
don't know how to
awesome.
pronounce
This is
that.
Milton's copy, but my copy had marker, highlighter all over it.
Mhm.
And this
But-
one I gave to him.
No. But what?
But get some counseling, but go to some Christian counseling that will give you some
Yeah, because
counseling by God. Because we done some counseling a few years before we got divorced, and it was not very good advice.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, back then it was, he didn't need any counseling.
I did at the time.
Yeah, okay. What do you want your kids to learn from your marriage struggles? You have 4 amazing children, 3 of which are married. 4, well, I guess we're all married,
Mhm.
really. So what do you want? What do you want us to learn from
Just that.
that?
The marriage is hard no matter what. And I think like you figured it was kind of quick,
Mm-hmm.
and I wouldn't recommend that to anybody because then your first part of your marriage, you're still going through that getting to know
Mhm.
the other person. And I know like for me, whenever we had an argument, I blew it way out of proportion and I was ready to go, which I did a few times. I did, but I don't know. You just have to not worry about the small stuff
Mm-hmm.
and treat your spouse. You have to do what you know is the right thing to do, whether they're doing it or not. You have to, just treat them like you know that they should be treated
Mm-hmm.
and not worry about yourself, except if there's physical abuse, then
Absolutely.
all means, leave. But yeah, divorce is not an answer.
It's not easy. It's
No,
not fun.
I'd go back and do it all over. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't.
Yeah, like when we lived in Georgia, we had a simple fight about got blown out of proportion because Kelly didn't pay some bill or whatever. And I get up in the morning, I go to work, I come home after work, and the house is empty. She had called her dad drove all night down and packed up the U-Haul and moved to Indiana. Yeah. So that was no fun either. I was like, what the hell? was just a little fight over about some bill didn't get paid
Hmm.
or some get too much spent. She spent too much money. I don't even remember what it was.
That's
Stupid
probably
how
it.
they do that. But yeah, but that's what happens when you are self-employed
Mhm.
because I'm not saying this because we don't have any money, never have, but we've had a lot of money in our bank.
We're
account.
taking donations now, guys.
We've had a lot of money in our bank account at one time or another that could be for paying for
Good.
material and for people's wages. So you had to kind of watch your pennies.
Right. I think that's something interesting that you bring up, and I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but about 3 or 4 years ago, Danny and I were having an argument, and I was holding a lot of stuff in, and I finally told him that I realized something, that I felt like every time we were going to have an argument that he was going to be like, let's just get divorced. And I don't know if that's because of your guys' situation, and I already and so we had a very long talk that that's not the answer. We will work through things, but in order to have a healthy marriage, you have to be able to take those things to the table and talk about those things. So,
And I think I did that too. I held stuff in. So then when we'd have some little thing, then everything would come out all at once.
Yeah, she'd
And
say,
then,
you washed the truck too many times last month. What are you talking about?
serious. But yeah, it's.
Or, it wasn't the check that you guys, or the bill that she didn't pay that she got mad about. It was all those other things. And that's what we talked about last week. If you guys watched, we had the marriage therapist on, and one of the things she mentioned was that you have to stay current with your partner. It's not necessarily don't go to bed mad at each other, because I've heard two different schools of thought on that, but don't let things go by to where they're just eating you inside, because it's finally going to be that small thing like, oh my gosh, he forgot to put a trash bag in the trash can when he changed the trash, and now you're mad about all these other things that you were mad about. So
yeah, well, I remember times when we didn't even afford trash bags. It was a luxury item.
I did have a roof over my head the entire time I was raised, guys, and I had everything I ever needed.
Great.
Christmas was great.
Thanks to her.
So you guys have been married now for a really long time. I can't even do the math. So
And I just count the first anniversary.
you just count the first
Yeah,
anniversary. So 79. I was born in 80, so 40 years.
Mhm.
Okay, so how has your marriage changed over the years, and how have you changed, and how do you think that has helped or hindered your relationship?
I think it just goes back to some of that stuff that I just said, I don't hold on to things, I don't think. And I basically speak what I feel. I tell him what I feel. Sometimes it's kind of like a jokey kind of tone. But we talk more about things now than we did
And
before.
we both know that neither one of us is going anywhere, no
Yeah.
matter what happens. It's like, okay,
It's not a
not going there. We're
it's
too
not a
late
choice.
to start over in life.
It's not a choice.
It's very expensive. Might throw this out. Some of these didn't know or stuff. But when we first got divorced, we was doing self-employment. I didn't do anything for 90 days. I mean, I absolutely quit. Probably closer to a year and a half. I absolutely quit.
90 days to a year and a half.
I'm
That's
just
a big
saying.
gap.
I'm just saying. At one point, my banker called me and said, "Milton, is there a problem?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, you got money in your account, but yet you haven't made any payments of any of your loan payments." Okay, make them, because Kelly handled that. I didn't, so I had to hire an accountant to take care of it
Oh, I see.
because I didn't make any payments of it, which I still don't.
So you were lost.
Yeah, I didn't know how to do that.
So they've said that, they've always been self-employed. I'm glad we're still cracking you up, Kristen. They've always been self-employed. So for the longest time, I remember you having your brick mason business. But now my dad does over the road truck.
Well, I did that
I don't
before.
really
too.
know what he does. I know, but what I remember mostly is you having your masonry business. I do remember you doing over the road trucking, because I do remember a lifetime supply of Irish Spring soap that we got to keep because it was damaged.
Okay.
So what I'm getting at is you're gone for extended periods of time. In fact, I joked with him that he was going to be gone from now until Christmas because he's been off for a while for whatever reason, medical reasons. Anyway, so how do you make that work with Dad? With Dad being gone for extended periods of time?
Well,
Be honest.
I am. It's not as bad now, but when we were first married and he'd be gone, I just remembered some of my friends, it's like, yeah, I really am married. I do have, I do have my family, my school reunions and stuff I go to. Yeah, I do have a husband.
Mm-hmm.
But I get, he'd be gone, and after a few days, the first few times you miss him or whatever, and then he comes home, he's tired and grumpy and he sleeps, and you're ready to go do something. I was ready to go do something, and all he wanted to do was stay home, and I lost track of what I was saying.
That was before?
Yeah, it was before, but then it got to the point where it was nice when we left. You get used to, I got used to doing my own thing, and,
right.
And I guess even up till recently, this last spell that he's been home, it hasn't been too bad, but before that, there was because I think part of it is he gets restless after he's been home for a little while, and so, but it's like, okay, I think it's about time for you to go back on the road.
Yeah, she's told me that more than once.
Yeah,
but I think he starts to worry about bills and stuff. So,
but I imagine too, previously, like when you were first married, with him being gone and you're trying to raise kids, was that harder? Was that part of or was he just really not that much of a help when he was home anyway?
I was more help than making the money.
I was just always joking when I was pregnant with you that you'll never hear the baby when it wakes up. You never will. And when I had you, where we were living at Mom and Dad's, and I had you in the room in the cradle, that first night you cried and he was up out of bed. And that was the last time. Because
come on.
Because I walked the floors with Ryan with the ear infection one time, and he was asleep in the bed.
Well, it may have been the last time you heard me cry in the middle of the night, because I probably slept through the night after that.
Yeah, exactly. You were the perfect child.
I still am.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So last week we talked about love languages, and I was just curious if you guys know each other's love language.
What's that?
They cheated, you guys. They cheated.
What do you mean we cheated?
They didn't until 3 hours ago.
I thought that was a good thing.
It's fine. So what did you guys find out? And did it, was it shocking to you?
You told me I couldn't talk about that.
Milton's was acts of service, and mine was...
I think you have it backwards.
Yeah.
Welcome to my life.
Mine was acts of service, and Milton's was
physical touch.
Physical touch.
I think that's most men's.
Yeah.
But it's just not what you're thinking. It can be hugs. It can be pats on the back scratches, things of that nature.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. If you guys don't know your partner's love language, Kristen, I know. I gave him a stern talking to before the show started. Where did you get that? Did you just Google love languages? So just Google love languages, and you can get a little short
several
quiz,
different ones,
and you can take it and learn it. I think it's important. And if you didn't catch last week's episode, I keep referencing it because last week was really good with the marriage therapist. You guys should get on there and check it out and see what she said about love languages and how you have to be able to even though like your partner's love language is physical touch, like you have to be able to receive that as they're showing you love, basically. All right, we're getting to the end of these questions. It's 9:40. Holy moly, it's past my dad's bedtime. What is it like parenting adult children versus raising children? Like, does it get easier as your children get older and now they're out of the house?
No, it costs more money.
Not because of me.
Be careful.
It doesn't get easier. It's the same.
Well,
Yeah, it's easier because most of our kids, which not saying everyone else's kids aren't, I can only speak about my kids, they're all grown up to be very responsible adults.
And what were you going to say, Mom?
it's easier in some ways, but you still worry about them
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like those phone calls.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Like the phone calls. Mom, I have a question.
yes.
All right. What about now that all your children are grown, we have done a great job of supplying you with grandsons. And you
Yeah, we're
have
the granddaughters.
one granddaughter from your son.
Right.
Well, I'm not giving you a granddaughter. Shop is closed.
Adoption.
No. Liam said not on his watch. So, what's it like having grandchildren and playing a special, significant role in their life?
I love it.
Is it better than raising kids?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because they come to stay with you and you let them do what they want. Yeah, and they go home to mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
to take care of.
All sugared up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, when Liam wants to eat a bowl of frosting instead of a cookie with frosting on it, yeah.
When he wants to, that doesn't mean he necessarily should, but Grammy gives him a bowl of homemade frosting with a spoon.
Kind of like
Grandfather
peanut butter with
sweetens it up with a
spoon.
$100 bill.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so parenting adult children is like harder because you just worry about them and all the dumb mistakes they're probably going to make.
Because you don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, we don't have to report back to you
Right.
with your curfew and stuff. All right, so out of all your parenting years and all the things, like, do you have a proud parenting moment? Like, not necessarily from one specific child, but like just, well, you had mentioned every grown up to be responsible.
Mhm.
And I think that's what you want, right? You want to raise
Right.
kids
Correct, that's
that are
the goal.
happy and upstanding citizens and
Yeah, nobody's, landed in jail or
No one's
drug
robbed the bank,
addict
no one's a
or-
drug addict, at least that we know of.
yeah.
nope, not yet. Okay. I have two more questions. I'm going to save that one for the last, but we have lived a lot of places. I think when Danny and I first moved, I counted up how many times I had moved, and it was into the 20s.
Yeah.
So where's the most favorite place that we've lived that you guys would
On
say?
25 at Lux. Right
The
there.
one where you got divorced.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a great
Yeah,
one to be your
we
favorite.
lost a lot of money and had 30 acres there and had horses and cattle and pigs and,
Mm-hmm.
and more pigs and more pigs and
I liked Georgia.
Yeah, Georgia was pretty nice.
I liked Georgia.
Yeah, I would have to say it's really a toss up between 25 Locks or 25 behind Staley's, because I had my full balance beam, and that's where you first started
Mhm.
having animals, and we had all of
yeah, we had a
that
good place there
land.
too.
It was nice.
That was and lots of the different outbuildings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of secluded back there behind. A lot of
Mhm.
people didn't even know it was there.
So my last question, because I like to talk about myself, what is your favorite memory of raising me, Your firstborn. Oh, before they answer this and before I forget, you guys, I have to show you this picture. This, I'm pretty sure, is when I was an only child. It's my parents and me. I can't. How do I do this?
I didn't see how
Aww.
good looking I was. And Kelly was.
Yeah. Aww. Babies with a baby. I love this picture. And it says, our first child. That was me. Should have broke the mold. Should have stopped making me. Okay. So, what was your favorite memory? Do you have a favorite one?
Raising you.
Yeah. Oh, it can't be a bad story because I was pretty good.
My proudest memory of Rianne is when one night at Locks, the police come over, knocked on our door, and said, "We need to talk to you about your daughter Rianne." And I said, "Okay, let me get my wife." And he says, "Now she did nothing wrong."
Don't mention other names.
Yes.
Huh?
Don't mention other names.
Okay, but she was at a party with some other kids, and all the people there's 14 of them, I think the officer said everyone else consumed alcohol, but Rianne said no, Mom and Dad wouldn't approve. And we would have never known about that unless the officer came. But I guess some of the kids went to school and was bragging about it. Then the police went out and interviewed each one of them. And every one of them said, Rianne said, no, Mom and Dad wouldn't approve.
Liam will probably ask you about that story sometime because I
Okay.
told him about that. And he's like, do you think grandfather would remember that story? It's like, oh yeah, grandfather will remember that story.
But it started off when the police asked to talk to me about my daughter. I'm thinking, okay.
You don't remember that?
I don't remember when coming to the house.
Oh,
No.
okay.
And my best story?
Favorite story, best
Okay,
story.
you want a cute one?
Yeah.
Well, when we lived in Bringhurst, and Dad was gone a lot, and we had a little garden in the back,
Mm-hmm.
and so I would fix us fresh vegetables and stuff, and then we had a recliner. After dinner, we'd go in and sit in the recliner together
Mm-hmm.
and watch
Family Feud.
Family Feud. Yes, and you just clap. But you always ate all the vegetables that I cooked.
Well, the kids typically do that till about the age of 2.
Is that it? Yeah.
They do.
But yeah, and you were just always so sweet.
That's not the story I thought you were going to share.
I can share that one too.
What one?
Huh?
What one?
Well, Miss Perfect.
This is like the only bad thing I've ever done.
Besides the crayon, black crayon on the wallpaper.
Oh, I thought that's the story you were sharing.
No, she did.
All right, thanks for watching. Which one are you talking about?
The one where you went to the fair with somebody and
Oh,
you
no, we're not talking about that one. I told her where I was going. I can't help it if she was asleep and I woke her up and then she couldn't find me because I was at the fair with another boy.
Can't help her Alzheimer's kicked in early.
Something.
But most of the time you were good.
I was a good child. Let's see if anybody, yes, Jennifer, the Staley's house. It was amazing.
Yeah, where we have the picture of you guys in the tree. The
Yes.
Brownies, Girl Scouts.
Marcia says, one of my favorite childhood memories was at the Georgia house when we were in the room and Milton scared us with the gorilla mask. Yeah, that was pretty scary. The only bad thing your mom knows about,
Who said that?
Jennifer. Okay, Jody, our cousin Jody in Florida. When you look at your own upbringing, what is the thing that you want to avoid with raising your own children, if anything? Oh, are you asking me? Fighting in front of my child. Definitely, and I don't do that.
But I grew up
Okay.
with that too.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
And did you? Did your parents fight in front of you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Oh,
Maybe.
I've heard some stories about your
Yeah,
mom.
but down in front of us, it was
Oh,
in
okay.
hear them through the.
But you could hear them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were
Yeah.
like sent
I
upstairs or
have
something.
bad stories like that.
Yeah. No, so with that, Jody, would be the one thing my husband and I do very good job of not.
You guys don't
Someone
fight,
asked
do you?
that question.
Jody.
What was Jody, our cousin in Florida.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jody.
What one thing from upbringing that I would want to do avoid with raising my child. Okay, anything else? Let's see here. Jennifer, really? You know what I was thinking. Okay, I think that's everything. Patty the pig. Yes, Patty the pig.
Who said that?
Jennifer,
Yeah.
about the Staley's house. Marcia mentioned that one of her favorite memories was at the Georgia house when we were in the room and you put on that scary mask and came and scared us. He probably doesn't remember.
Yeah, I remember
Oh.
that. I remember that.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Katie. I'm proud of this show too. It's been a lot of fun. I'm just thinking about a family with 8 kids. It's nice that you're having good conversations. This was so fun. All right, is there anything else you guys want to share? I mean, we've almost hit 10 o'clock.
Wow, we paid by the minute now, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
It's coming out of your account.
I
though,
think-
so.
just one of the things I wanted to say is that as I look back now, I didn't make a very good, I don't know, just with all the stuff between Milton and I and the
Mhm.
fighting, and
Mhm.
I put you guys, all of you, through a lot. And if I could go back and do it over, I'd change it.
Well, I appreciate that, but
I think we both put the kids through a lot more
Yeah.
than we wish we would have.
I have some great stories that will just go to the grave with me. But
Yeah.
I think in everybody's childhood, it helps shape who they are today. And
Yeah.
I think some of those experiences have helped me have a successful, healthy marriage because
Mhm.
I didn't want to get married for a long time because I was like,
Mhm.
I don't want to do that. I can do life by myself. But yeah, so
Yeah, there's a country song out where the little girl says, I don't want to play house because every time they play house, mommy cries.
yeah. So I would just say that I wouldn't worry about it. None of us are perfect.
Yeah.
We're never going to be. And I think the best thing is just trying to do the best that you can each and every day. So, all right. So it's 9:53. I want to just wrap up real quick. Thank you both so much for supporting me and joining me tonight after your bedtime. Thank you to each and every one of you that show up each week on whether it's the live version or the replay. I really appreciate it. If you are watching the replay, please #replay so I know. And then next week, can you guys believe that the next time I come live, it's October? It'll be October 1st next week, guys. And just like we did for September, we kicked off September with Suicide Awareness Month. So next week is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I have got a lineup for you next week. I'm so excited. I have a breast cancer survivor on next week. I have a previvor, which you're going to have to, I'm not going to tell you what that is. You're going to have to watch to learn. And I also have I'm not even going to tell you who yet. I'm have a well-renowned local doctor, OBGYN, joining us next week. So please make sure you help me kick off Breast Cancer Awareness Month next week. The studio will be full with all of those people. So thank you guys so much. I truly do enjoy this time every week, and I'm really grateful for your support. Have a good night. What's left of it? I'm going to bed. Good night.